I'm just really glad we had this call. I'm at, when you think about, sometimes you never get a chance to really talk or be inspired. And I meant this call just meant a lot. Being able to get everyone in and be able to talk to Tony and share memories with Tony and have Tony share some memories. Like I said, when he started talking about his memories, I mean, it's a book waiting to happen, and there's so many people that because it's not just UCLA, but the different athletes and professional relationships he's had, and certainly the stages of like I had no idea, Tony, when you talked about when you got there, not coach, but Ducky had you come through, and recruit you in. And then when you get there, man, you're scrambling, you're just scrambling and you're sleeping on a cot. And for a kid to say, hey, man, I had to, battle my butt off. I'm sleeping on a cot and trying to go to college and scrambling by just on training table and then hustling the rest of the time for a sandwich or two and still get through this university. But look at your story and look at the walk and the story that you had, and then where you went to the height of at UCLA and then beyond and then back, and then to finish up with Coach Wooden and a close walk with him and the people that you've come across is beyond Forrest Gump. It's beyond that kind of story, man, because it's a real story. It's a real truth, and it's a real compassion for what you do. And I thank you, man. I really do. I love hearing it. I'm that kind of person, but I've been in news and television, and I know it's a great story, man.
Hey, Ray, maybe Tony would like to tell you about when he was 2 years old, the Yankee game.
Come on, man.
You want to tell him, man?
At 2, you went to the Yankee game? Well, who was there, man?
Okay, I'm going to tell him if you don't. So you better.
My father decided he was going to take me to a Yankee game when I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
And the people that he took me in, the people that we went with knew the security guard by the Yankee dugout. So we got moved down in the seats by the dugout, and they had an Eddie Lopat night. Eddie Lopat was a real great Yankee player, and they were honoring Eddie Lopat. So they gave Eddie Lopat a car.
What?
So they gave Eddie Lopat a car, and so he and his wife were in this car going to drive it around driving around Yankee Stadium, not on the field, but they had a track, the track. So they looked in the stands and pulled me out of the stands and put a little cap on me, a Yankee cap, and sat between them. And I wound up on the front page of the Daily News at 3 years old.
What?
That's true. He was blessed from day one.
Yeah, that was a very foretelling picture.
And
so can you research and grab that picture? Did you have it?
I don't have it. No, I don't have it.
They've got that picture somewhere. I mean, they've got to have the what is it? Microfiche? What is that?
Anthony, you want to tell them about the
So I'm 7 years old on my birthday. So my dad decides he's going to take me to Yankee Stadium for my birthday. And it's a World Series game. It was Don Larson's only perfect game on my birthday.
Gotta be kidding me.
More foreshadowing, more foretelling.
Yeah. Also, you want to talk about the autographed baseball you got that day when you were 3? The whole team signed it.
Yeah, the whole Yankee team signed it for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then my brother went out. He was like 8 years old to play baseball.
And I'll tell you another story, Ray. I was in Kentucky my freshman year of college, actually, before I came out to California. And I my mom's brother died out in California. So my cousin and my aunt came out to New Jersey to visit us, and they wanted somebody to live with them. So I gave up my scholarship at Kentucky for Adolph Rupp as a freshman trainer in Kentucky for 1 year, and came out to UCLA and lived on a cot and gave up the scholarship and worked my way through school.
Wow.
Is that the best move you've ever made?
And so,
Wow.
and so here's the interesting part. So the year I'm at Kentucky, a classmate of mine lived in Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay. And he said, Tony, how would you like to go home with me for the weekend? And I said, sure. Yeah. Okay. I've never been to Cincinnati. Okay. So we go to his place for the weekend, and he says, you know what, how would you like to go to the Cincinnati Reds game tonight? And I said, okay, fine. And he says, I got some tickets because my sister's, babysitting for the pitcher tonight for the Reds. So we go there, and the guy pitches a no-hitter. Okay. So the next night we decide we don't have anything to do. And he says, how would you like to go back to the Cincinnati Reds game again? And I said, you got to hear the story. Okay. So I said, okay, sure. Why not? So we go there, and we don't have tickets, and we're standing in line, and we're well dressed. I mean, we have a nice shirt and slacks on and stuff. And this guy walks up to us and says, would you guys like a couple of tickets? And we go, oh yeah, how much you want for him? And he goes, no, but you have to use the ticket. You have to sit in these seats. And I say, okay, fine. We go in 3 rows between home plate and the Cincinnati Reds dugout. Guess what we saw? Back-to-back no-hitters.
Yeah, it was the only time the two teams did it.
So the Houston Astro pitcher pitched a no-hitter in the second game, and they interviewed him at the rail where we were sitting, and I leaned over and shook his hand, and I was on the front page of the Cincinnati paper for back-to-back no-hitters in baseball, and no one ever talks about that. No one.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's probably never happened. That's probably the only time that's happened.
I think so. I think way back when, I think,
back to back, man.
Well, one guy pitched 3 no-hitters back to back to back.
Yeah.
Way back. Yeah. I'm trying to think of his name. Bob, can you help me on that one?
What's that? Don Wilson
pitched 3 no-hitters in a row.
Oh, was it Nuxall?
No, way back.
It was right. It was one of the Red pitchers, I believe, right? Cincinnati Reds did it. He was a rookie.
Back to the same pitcher, or what are you talking about?
Same pitcher.
2 times he ever did. I think it was no hitters. Yes.
Yeah.
He's the only player ever to do it.
Johnny Vandermeer.
That's incredible.
Johnny Vandermeer pitched 3 no-hitters in a row.
Yes.
But I saw 2 no-hitters by.
Yeah, I would lose money on that.
Okay. But I saw back-to-back no-hitters, one by the Cincinnati Reds and one by the Houston Astros. Yeah.
Anthony, I have Rick Neuheisel on my phone. He'd like to say hi. Rick, you want to talk?
Absolutely. Tony, how are you?
Neuheisel. That's Rick Neuheisel.
Rick Neuheisel.
Hi, Rick. How you doing?
Can you hear it?
How you doing,
closer
Rick?
to the speaker, Bob.
We were trying to get him in, and he couldn't get in, so I decided to do it through my phone.
Yeah, I don't know why you can't get in.
Yeah, we don't know. Tony's here if you want to say hi. And Rob asked everybody, we've had a ton of people on, and what does Tony mean to you and meant to you in your life?
Tony was one of those guys that you just remember from your experience in college. One of those guys who's there during the good times and the bad times, always uplifting, always, encouraging. And I was very fortunate to have a guy like Tony in my corner, because I was on every rung of the ladder. I was 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, all the way to the starter. I'd been benched, and I'd been the Rose Bowl MVP, and Tony was the same guy throughout. And one of those guys you always remember, always want to say thank you to. And Tony, I just want you to know we're pulling for you, pal.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Can't thank you enough for how good you were to not only me, but to all of us at UCLA.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. But
Absolutely.
Ray, you go back to, the way UCLA is. Tomorrow they're bringing back the
ball with Tony.
Nothing like talking ball with my brother. You're right about that. I do it every night on the phone. You're so right. You're so right. You're so right.
He had such a wealth of knowledge in all the different games, and you go back and his eyes would light up when he talk about the old time NBA or the old time major leagues. And it's just fun talking sports with Tony.
Yes. Thank you. We appreciate that. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing great. I'm staying busy with a radio show and a television gig with CBS, and able to watch my boys kind of grow up and do good things. And so I'm very, very fortunate to have had the experiences that I've had, to stay close to the game that we all love in terms of college football. But I count myself have been amongst the very, very fortunate.
And yeah, definitely. And we were actually going to come see you with the Army Navy because it was in New Jersey this year, and that's close to home for me. So
it was a great spot for the Army Navy game. The pomp and circumstance is always second to none, and then the game lived up to it. It was a really close game, and give Navy all the credit in the world. They were big underdogs coming in, but as is the case, you throw out the records for that one.
Yeah. And well, my brother always told me it was the pomp. My dad used to love it because he was in the service, and we used to watch it as little kids. And my brother said it was the ceremony before the game's amazing. And we were going to go this year. Tony was going to come on. We were going to go. It was on the same night as my mother's birthday, so we couldn't make it. But yeah, we were definitely going to come see you, and we will. I mean, we'll get that chance to come see you.
Hopefully next year. Tony, you get better. And hopefully see you next year. It'll be back in Philadelphia. Doesn't matter where the game is. The game is just it lives up to its billing. It's worth the price of admission. And if you haven't seen it, put it on your bucket list. It's one of those things that you'll be glad you did have a chance to be a part of.
Well, Rick, I think when you were at UCLA, didn't they have it in the Rose Bowl that year?
They did. That was when Napoleon Callum was running shot over Army as that Navy running back. And I actually got to see defensive linemen now that are running back, but you know what? Who can blame anybody when you get a little long in the years? You might put on a little weight. It happens. But it was that was the furthest west the game ever went. That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember going to that game with some friends. We had them out from Wisconsin, and it was an amazing game, although Navy just destroyed them. McCallum, everywhere they put him, he ran for a touchdown. Yeah. I think I remember he touched the ball 4 times and he had 4 touchdowns, and they were down 28-0 before the Army could even blink.
For the Raiders.
Is he?
Yeah.
He played for them, right? For a while?
Yeah, he played for him, and now he's got a job with Mark Davis, the new owner. The son of Al Davis, of course, but he's working for Mark for the Raiders and their new entity there in Las Vegas.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We love your show, Rick. I did listen to it after we had you on the first time. And Rob and I love it. And you do a great job. You just do.
You're kind. It is a joy. It doesn't feel like work. You get up every day and you talk about college athletics.
Well, you're
no
right.
time in history have there been this many changes in college athletics in one year, in one calendar year, for the transfer portal, to name, image, and likeness, to the the gerrymandering of conferences, realignment. Mm-hmm. It's been wild, and so lots to talk about.
I mean, Rick, just think
about college athletics.
Right.
Rick, think about all the money you could have made with that before you ever threw a pass.
You're right, Rick. Rob and I do this show, and when I went to broadcast school, the one thing we learned, it was like, it's the easiest couple of hours you ever have, and it's just fun. You talk, and the time goes so fast. And Anthony's right, Tony's right. Like, you get paid so much now with these sports announcers, and we're just trying to build our show too. And I hope that everybody comes back on that came on. We had a ton of people on today, and there were others that didn't come on that were going to. Wayne was going to come on. Wayne Embry, Nigel Miguel was coming on, but he had another project, so he couldn't. Another movie. Tony Laughlin was coming on. We had a ton, and we had a ton on anyway. But
that's fantastic, and that's a tribute to your brother.
That's
Tony
exactly
was
right.
That kind of guy. He was that kind of inspiration to all of us that found him at UCLA and create relationships. That's the beauty of college athletics. You create relationships. A lot of guys
lifelong, Mike, lifelong
living doing it, but the vast majority end up using that as a stepping stone to something that becomes a livelihood, and they have those memories and those experiences along to help them, kind of navigate life. And that's why guys like Tony and people that help you along the way become really instrumental in a lot of success. So everybody's a big fan of Tony Spino, I can tell you that.
Well, the understatement.
I appreciate that. I don't know about UCLA per se, but I would say, all the athletes and the coaches, I hope so, especially with the coaches, because sometimes it's hard to tell a coach a bad news about a player who couldn't play, Yeah. Rick, one time I was really little, and I watched an Army Navy game.
Tried to put a bright light on it. He says, I got good news and I got bad news.
Yeah.
Right. Wants to buy your shoes.
What was that? I
didn't hear that again about the shoes. He didn't hear you about the shoes. He wanted to say it again.
Oh, he wants it again.
Yeah.
Tony, I said you were the guy that would walk down and say, hey, listen, coach, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is your player's lost both his legs. The good news is there's a guy down the hall.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Hey, if we can't laugh, we can't do anything, and that's what
exactly
right. Tony's table, when you get your ankles taped, you want to be able to sit there and talk sports, share a laugh, share a giggle, and that was what you could count on when you got with Tony Spino.
Yeah, and look, I always tell it to everybody, he's the best at what he does, and that's not an exaggeration. And I'm not saying it because he's my brother, because if you know me, I'm always ripping on my brother more than complimenting my brother. But in this case, it's absolutely true, and he's the best.
It is absolutely true.
He's the best.
And it's a shout out to all those folks that play in those roles in college athletics. I mean, we talk about players, we talk about coaches on our radio programs because that's who the people who watch the games recognize and want to learn.
Right.
And it just highlights how much a man like Tony means to all the athletes and all the people connected to these sports, just as integral as the coaches and assistants and the players.
Mm-hmm.
But, thank you for everybody for coming on, and I hope to stay in touch with all of you. And we love to have you all back. Great guests, and thank you for making it happen.
I was a bit taken back by how much you really meant to these people.
Well, it means a lot to me. It's very moving to me, because I've worked so much, so consistently. And I finally, after 50 years of service at UCLA and 5 years with the Milwaukee Bucks, 2 years at Loyola Marymount, and sleeping on sofas and floors and, living in the training room and wondering where my next meal was coming from. I'm very moved and very touched. And like I said, I've been very blessed to have the association. And sometimes when you're working, you don't realize what an impact you make on other people. But today it really helped me look back on it and say, wow, I've really touched a lot of people's lives and didn't even realize it. I just did it because that was my job, And like I said, everybody was equal in my eyes. I never looked at somebody. It didn't matter to me if you were first string or fifth string. If you came in there and needed help, you know, I did the best I could for you. And that's all I could ask, you know. I mean, even when I was with the Milwaukee Bucks, they used to have a thing where, you know, they had the rookies carry the balls and the coaches wanted 12 balls. So we had to carry 2 bags. I carried all 12 balls. I carried 9 bags on the road. I did the laundry at night. You know, I like Pat Macbride said, I booked the planes and I booked the buses and I booked the hotels and I booked the practices, but I also washed the uniforms every night. And whether it was after a game, you know, whether it was after a game or after practice, I got the gear, I went to the laundromat and I did the laundry, you know.
Wow.
And I made 14.5 with no bonuses, no contract, just basically got hired by a handshake. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, today when I see an NBA team come into the, you know, Poly Pavilion or the Morgan Center, the Wooden Center, excuse me, they come in with more staff than they have players. They have a trunk that just carries their shoes.
Wow.
They have another guy who carries their warm-ups and their practice gear. And then they go into a locker room and they change and they come out and there's another guy who collects it and takes it to the laundry. They have 5 or 6 or 7 uniforms. We had 2 away and 2 home. And I'll tell you a story was we had Milwaukee written on our away uniforms. And everybody thought that was too many letters. So Wayne Embry called me in and said, Tony, what do you think we should do? I said, I think you should do the same thing the Dodgers do. Just write Bucks. Like the Dodgers wrote home and away, Dodgers. They got rid of Los Angeles because it was too much on the uniform. So I took that from my Dodger Bat Boy days to Wayne Embry, and that's why they did the Bucks home and away on the uniform. Yeah.
Wow.
And that still sticks today, I think. Don't they? They wear the Bucks.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Another little insert to the book, right, Raymond?
Hey guys, I gotta take off. Hey Tony, I'm gonna call you, and guys, I may be back on your show again.
Oh, thank you.
Come on anytime, Raymond. Anytime. Talk about your career, everything.
All right, cool.
Thanks.
Cool.
Great,
Absolutely.
Hey,
great
man.
to talk to you, man.
All right, great job, guys. Great job, man. We'll talk later, Tony. God bless you. God bless all you guys, man.
Thank you.
All right.
See you.
We'll talk later.
If you need any numbers or something, I'll
Right
send
now.
it to you, man.
Okay, cool. All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you later. Raymond Bell.
Raymond Bell.
Okay,
we lost-
okay. I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for having me on the show. I
Thanks
hope
for
you
being
guys
here.
were pleased with the show.
Well,
I
were
was
you
really
pleased?
hesitant about doing this today. I didn't feel real good the last several days. And this really probably was longer than you guys wanted
No.
the show to be.
Yes, no.
Sorry
We're
for
all
the
about the
guys-
more the merrier. This
You know,
is
sorry
4
for the guys that
episodes.
couldn't get on. But it's great just seeing those guys again, you know. You know, we'll see how things progress here. But Rob, thank you so much. You look great in your Syracuse background there.
I have to represent all these UCLA guys.
Well, you know, Rob, I don't know if you know this, but my mentor in high school was Jim Vance, and he was a star first fullback for Ben Schwartzwater at Syracuse.
He knows Syracuse.
And
He was-
he beat
Oh, sorry.
Jimmy Brown. He beat Jimmy Brown out for fullback. Brown had to play halfback to him.
That's
I know.
that's the thing, Tony. I feel like Jim Vance is one of those people that kind of went under the radar, but they kind of deserve more recognition.
Right.
But
Did you have-
we're so glad you came on. This was great.
Yeah.
And again, appreciate. I mean, this show doesn't exist without you, and it was a pleasure and an honor to witness the depth of the connections you've established over the years with some of these people. It was a beautiful thing.